All right, so I'm going to introduce the program now, and then I will bring you in. All right. Just see if anybody else is going to join us. All right. Let me see if persons are ready. Let me close that. See who's online. All right, so do we have anybody online? Let me share some more. Share with some of my groups so we can get persons on and benefiting from the conversation. All right, I think I've shared it with persons. If you are on, just send me a message. Let me know you guys are here. Share the link on WhatsApp. All right, I think. Alrighty. I think I should be good to go. All right, let's get it started right about now. All right, gentle folks. Let me change the view here. All right. All right, I guess we can get started. I was giving time for persons to join us and be a part of the conversation. Hello, and welcome to the Living Holistically Talk Show. I am Carrie Ann Witter, your host, wellness coach, and medical missionary. I'm so happy you could have joined me. You know, this program is on every Sunday at 3:30 p.m. We talk about all things health and wellness, and our slogan is holistic health is more than a fad, it's a lifestyle. Remember, on this program, we do not diagnose, we do not treat, we provide information. If you have a specific concern, please see your healthcare provider. I also want to remind you that this program is produced by Living Holistically by Carrie Ann. We are a health food store with physical offices in Yallahs Post Office, St. Thomas, right here in Jamaica, and we provide delivery services island-wide. We also provide wellness consultations and wellness plans, wellness coaching. For further information, complete our bookings form on our website, holisticja.com. That's WHOLISTICJA.com. And I think I want to change the level of my camera. I think this should be better. So today we are back for another show, and I am always excited to have persons with me, and I'll tell you very soon who the person you're looking at is. She is my guest for today. Let me just check to see if I'm getting any messages. And always remember that you can share your questions, you can share your comments in the chat on the Facebook Live. All right. So awesome. Let's get it started. So we have been focusing on mental health in the pandemic for the month of November, and we have barely scratched the surface. And this 1 hour program gives us an opportunity to talk, but it doesn't give us enough time to get into it. But let's see how much we can talk about today. So remember, COVID-19 is still here with us. While we follow the protocols though, remember to strengthen your immunity by eating well, exercising, having faith in God, getting your vitamin D, your sun exposure, drinking at least 2 liters of water every day. You can contact me for more information and for immune building supplements, holisticja.com. And also feel free to contact us on 876-519-9131. Today we'll be looking at another topic in our series, and that topic is anxiety. Anxiety. We'll be looking on anxiety specifically as it relates to being in the pandemic. I have Associate Counseling Psychologist Tanisha Goodlit with me. She's my guest for today. And I tell you that I'm looking forward to the conversation because, like her, I also am an Associate Counseling Psychologist. So I expect it will be a conversation that we are both excited about. According to the Center for Disease Control, for short, we call it CDC, the coronavirus disease 2019, COVID-19, the pandemic may be stressful for people. Fear and anxiety about a new disease and what could happen can be overwhelming and cause strong emotion in adults and children. Public health actions such as social distancing can make people feel isolated and lonely and can increase anxiety, stress and anxiety. So you see, it is out there, it is being talked about, it is a reality that stressful situations can increase anxiety or lead to anxiety. And I must quickly tell you that we are not going to go in depth in terms of anxiety disorders, etc. These are deeper conversations for another time. Again, if you need further information, you can always reach out to us, 876-519-9131 or holisticja.com, holisticja.com. All right, so as I said, I have with me Mrs. Tanisha Goodlit. In her professional, her day-to-day work life, she's a guidance counselor, but she's not here in that capacity. She's here in her capacity as Associate Counseling Psychologist. She's also a member of the Johnsontown Seventh-day Adventist. She's married, she has a daughter. And she's gonna tell us a little bit more, if she chooses, about herself. And she's going to help me to unravel this discussion as it relates to the topic of anxiety. And we're going to look at it from a holistic perspective. So we're going to be looking at, and tell your friends, share the link, because we are going to be looking at it from a whole man, a whole woman, a whole person point of view, which I think is very necessary as we talk about this whole matter of anxiety and mental illness on a whole. I don't think sometimes we look at the other sides of mental illness. Often we simply just focus on the surface, and many times we think, oh, what can I take? What kind of drug can I give to this person? But there's more to the discussion, and that is what we are going to be doing, having that discussion in a fulsome way right here this afternoon. So let me close off that on my computer. That's WhatsApp on my computer. All right, let me bring in Tanisha Goodlit. Mrs. Goodlit. I said Goodlit.
Good afternoon. That's okay.
Afternoon. All right. Thank you for being a
think
part
you've
of the
shared
program.
enough
I shared enough.
of Happy
She's
Meal.
so hungry,
Yes.
right? All right. So you're here with me, and I want us to talk about anxiety because I believe that we're so focused on this whole matter of the physical side of COVID-19 that persons don't realize that there are other components to it. So help me to understand, help us to understand, what is anxiety?
What is anxiety? Anxiety is a feeling of uneasiness. We say butterflies, and I believe everybody has or you have experienced it at one level or another. Maybe you are given a task to sing something, you start to feel this churning in your stomach, butterflies in your stomach. It's a sudden fear, right? So that is anxiety. And that is a general thing for anxiety. It can get chronic, where persons you feel as if you're having a heart attack. Your heart starting beating fast, you start blowing short, and it's normally triggered by some event, some stressor. There is some stress to it. And it's when we don't deal with it that this happens. You can't breathe, you feel like your breath is being cut off. You start to sweat, headaches, stuff like that. And that's where it gets chronic. But it's just in general, this nervous feeling, feeling like things are getting out of control, you're fearful, you're going to make a mistake. That's anxiety. And as I said, it can be mild and it can get chronic, moderate and chronic.
And I believe, based on how you've defined it, that this is why it is such a relevant conversation as it relates to where we are now, based on the stress, the uncertainty of the current environment. It is very important for us to have this conversation and to help persons to be more aware of the potential challenges that could come out of this pandemic. So thank you for helping us to understand that definition, and also the fact that it can get even more technical. And as I said before, that we're not here necessarily to go into the depth of the different types of anxiety and anxiety disorders. We're really talking about the everyday anxiety before it becomes chronic, as Ms. Goodlit did a good job in differentiating between everyday anxiety and chronic anxiety. And so there are the disorders that are associated with it, like generalized anxiety disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, so panic attacks. Even though, and that's another thing that will come up as we go along, but we're not focused so much on chronic anxiety, even though the tips that we're going to share are useful in dealing with anxiety. But if it passes a certain stage, you need to get assessed right away. So having said that, what are some factors that may cause or contribute to anxiety? And you alluded to it before, but let's broaden that somewhat. What are some causes of anxiety?
It is said to be, as they say in research, it's said to be genetic and environmental. Yes. And it has to do with some aspect of the brain, but the brain part is still being researched. So nothing is concrete on that. But it's just a fact of being unsure, sure about the future, what is to come, what is going to happen. And then as humans, we always want to know, right? And not knowing tends to cause us to worry. And if we don't have an answer, our brain is we're just going to be thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking. And of course, constant worrying will put your body, it becomes physical. Yeah, it puts your body, because our mind does control our body. Yes. So therefore, not having an answer, job stress, feeling that you have too much work and there's not enough time, which we're seeing it now. This is our reality. It is our reality. And the famous, as you started out with, COVID-19. COVID is not something you can see on somebody. I realize that everybody is now focusing on the asymptomatic, because some persons can be walking around with it and you don't know. So a lot of persons are anxious. They are worried about that, going out on the road. I have a friend who does not want to go out. She does not want anybody to come near her. And why? It hit close to home because COVID took one of her friends close to home. So therefore, all these uncertainties, and then nobody really wants to die. We all want to enjoy life, and then persons want to be comfortable. So we want to do the best at our job. We want to be the best. We don't want to lose it. So therefore, we put out our all, not realizing that Rome was actually not built in a day, and our great God did not create this world in a day, but he could have. He took the entire week. He could have, yes. Yes, he took the entire week. And I believe it's an example for us humans. Everything cannot be done all at once. Yes. And you will not get the answer today. But I'm sure we have all proven it. That things that we have been worrying about did come up and it was solved. And sometimes, what was I worried about? So we do stress about these things. Just the fact that things are uncertain and I want to meet this deadline and I want to do this. And procrastination too causes anxiety because the more we put off things, of course, the deadline is really going to come. So piling up things and not planning properly, that causes anxiety. And there are a whole lot of things. And I think that's the environmental part of it. And for some of us, it is genetic. Can be hormone imbalance and stuff like that. Right.
And so it's a very broad area that
exactly.
Yes. And that is why I tried to temper the expectations in terms of what the discussion will surround, because this is a broad issue. It is something that can be very technical at times, so to cover it within the time slot or the time allotted might be a little would be a little difficult or nearly impossible. But I'm glad you contextualized that, and much of what you said in terms of the uncertainty as it relates to the future and not being able to control what is to come. It's human for us to want to be in, what would I say, to be in the know, but to be honest, the future is not given to us. Yes. And I like the serenity, the prayer of serenity. It helps us to contextualize things, talking about understanding the things that we cannot change and accepting that, and whatever is within our power to change, we get the courage to make that difference, to make that change. And this is so important as it relates to this whole conversation about COVID-19. Understanding our limitations, understanding what we have control over, and leaving the rest to God. But then there is a gap for those, and we'll talk about how we can deal with anxiety as we go forward. But I am not sure how persons who don't have the God element in a time like this would cope. And I must put it out there as well that I'm a Christian associate counseling psychologist. So I operate from a Christian's perspective. And so, and Mrs. Goodlett also operates from that perspective. And so our discussion, just so you know, will come from a perspective that is a Christian perspective. That's the shortest way of putting it. So bear that in mind as we go through the discussion. So again, the cause of anxiety might be, as you mentioned, the personal things around school. We hear about a lot of relationship issues, the financial thing, especially because people, the job loss issue, the economic realities associated with it are big issues. And there is the information that is being shared. So everybody knows social media is an expert. And so people forwarding things, some things might near to, so some things far from the truth. And there's the confusion that it builds for a lot of people. People are losing their sleep,
That's so true.
And there's that out there. Now, specifically, let's talk about, you've listed quite a number of things in terms of potential causes, but how might COVID-19 intensify or cause anxiety in persons?
And as you said, because everybody is now an expert, and especially on COVID, because everybody now knows the roots and where this comes from and what it's leading to. And
yes,
and it is frightening. It is frightening. And apart from that, where they speak of the conspiracy, we're hearing of a lot of death. You know, persons are dying, and persons, and a lot of our people in Jamaica have a lot of these underlying illnesses, and yet they don't want to die. And you can't see it on somebody you do not know who have it. You can just go out and then you come back in. They speak of the conspiracy. We're hearing of a lot of death. And then you find out that you have it, and you don't want to lose anybody. But this, I believe COVID is intensifying it a whole lot. The job loss you mentioned, I don't know when I'm going to lose my job. And therefore, instead of taking it one day at a time, I worry about that. Yes, the business is slowing down. Persons are not buying as before. And then the at-homes, the homeschooling, that's at the height of a whole lot of persons. I hear parents complaining they can't be bothered. And yes, sometimes we make fun of it. I hear one parent say, open school make COVID kill them.
Mercy, I saw that one. And I wondered if it was comedy.
But the thing is, when we get frustrated, we say things. Many times we say things, we do things. And I hear a lot of persons are saying it, no, open school, because being at home, working at home, and ensuring that your child is online and focusing online, it's really not easy. It is stressful and it is frustrating, and it will lead us to do many things. And of course, paying attention to your child. Then we go to bed late, and sleep is very important. It's very important, because lack of sleep can cause us to have anxiety attack. Sleep is one of the most important things. So the whole life change, the whole new norm, as they call it, it's not a norm. But all of that they're calling it, it's really not easy. And then persons who are not used to, you have to get to learn the information technology like overnight, like that.
Yes, especially for parents to support their children in the online.
Right. There you go.
Moving banking completely online.
There you
tax
go.
office moving complete. A lot of services online. Yeah.
And then you have persons who do not trust. They don't even have an ATM card. They do not trust those things. And that's where they become anxious now, because their fear now is becoming a reality. I now have to do this. And then you hear of people robbing banks, or they're doing this to the ATM and they're doing that. And then you worry again. It so intensifies everything. So even if you are somebody that you say you don't worry, you're not forced to do certain things. You're not forced to do it, and then I don't know. It makes it's like anxiety now is a natural part of us. Like you speak to almost everybody, and they have they are experiencing it on one level or the other. So COVID has intensified greatly, has caused it greatly. And as you said, we need to take our lives, we need to take it back.
Yeah.
We need to take the time.
The song that is trending speaks about a particular person mashing up a particular person's life. But I think we could probably reword that song to talk about, as you mentioned, COVID and mash up your life.
That's right. There you go.
You know, and so to add to what you're saying, a lot of people are going through things that they might not even understand. So here in the pandemic, a lot of people are talking about, I don't know if you've heard it, the muscle tension, the tightness in the chest. People are having things like heart palpitations. It can also manifest itself in things like increased blood pressure, especially for those who already have an issue with blood pressure.
Yes.
You mentioned sleep a while ago and issues with sleep. So it's two ways. You mentioned that not sleeping can lead to anxiety, but also the anxiety also can impact our sleep. People are having, you mentioned the panic attacks already, irritability and mood swings, severe mood swings, which also could link to the hormonal imbalance that you mentioned earlier that can also be related to anxiety. There are digestive issues. People, the mind, the confusion in the mind, the difficulty concentrating, restlessness, excess sweating. Some people don't want to associate with other people. So the social distancing and the fear surrounding that people are hiding themselves away. These are some of the general things that if you are out there, you want to know, could I be impacted by anxiety? Is anxiety affecting me? These are some of the things you can look for in your day-to-day behavior to make a determination as to whether you might be suffering from anxiety and anxiety related. So I think it is important for us to be able to, see the signs and tell what the signs are. So we've established that anxiety is a normal, it is a reaction, but it is actually sometimes we can look at it as a normal reaction to uncertainty and stress and things that may harm us. So feeling a little anxious is not in and of itself dangerous, right, Mrs. Goodley? Am I correct in saying so?
Right. Right. It is the norm. It is a norm. Yeah, it is the norm. But then it's getting worse now. Yeah.
Yeah. So and it's when you're having those issues that we mentioned before that you might want to look at examine to see whether you are having a real issue with anxiety that could potentially, if not dealt with, could potentially become a serious issue or a serious health issue for you. I want to zone in too to look now, having looked at what some of those things are. How can we quickly provide some tips and examples of how we can manage anxiety using lifestyle?
And that, I believe, is very key. Very key. Many times, yes, and we should go to the doctor. We're not eliminating, as you said before. They are there for a purpose, and we should go there, because anxiety can even, as you say, come up with like you have blood pressure, you have diabetes, and it's nothing like that. It's just, but lifestyle change is very, very important. And the first thing is to stop and relax.
Yes.
Stop and relax. Tell yourself that it's not the end of the world. We call it grounding. Just stop when you feel your thoughts are racing, your heart starts beating fast. Stop. Take deep breaths. But then we also need to incorporate exercise, because exercise releases the hormones, the good hormones in our bodies to help us to feel happy and to calm us down. Many times we run for a tablet or we run for antidepressants, and when these little things can help us, and replace the negative thoughts with positive thoughts. Yes, speak to yourself. Tell yourself that I cannot do anything about this, and it will work out.
As a songwriter says, sometimes you have to encourage yourself.
That's right.
Take a word, over yourself. You have to do positive self-talk.
There we go. And the food that we eat too, it's very important. So this fatty food, fast food, cut it out or reduce it until you eliminate it. Yes? And the spicy food. Eat more natural food. Feed your body on more natural food. There are nuts that are good. There are herbs. Chamomile. Wonderful.
Yes.
Have a cup of tea.
Yes.
Have a cup of tea. Take breaks. Take a break. You can't keep running and running. Even a car that's a machine that doesn't have feelings, any machine at all, even a blender.
You have to rest it sometime, eh?
There you go. There you go. Get adequate amount of sleep. As I said, sleep is very important. And it is said that when you go to your bed between, I thought it was 10 to 2, but it's 9 to 2. And your brain releases that hormone. It's called melatonin.
Melatonin.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
that replenishes and repairs your body.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, we need to get this sleep. Because look at it, and the Bible says it. What does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul?
Nothing.
We
So
hear people now sending around us a WhatsApp thing that the most important thing in life is to enjoy life and enjoy the people around you.
Yes,
and
I think, Mrs. Goodley, not to, as Jamaican say, me not cut you, but you know, whenever we say that, we actually cut.
Yeah.
We're actually cutting in. But I think the pandemic, this point that you just made about enjoying those around us, the pandemic has brought our mortality and the mortality of those around us into focus. And because of that, it is even more important now for us to be focused on enjoying and making memories. You know, memories are so important right now because that might be all we have to hold on to. So, you know, I just wanted to underscore that point that you made of enjoying and making the best use of those around us. That's very, very important. And not just because it's abusing, but, you know, enjoying their company.
Yeah, it is important. In one session I had is a premarital counseling. I highlighted that it's important now to make good memories, because when rough times come, you're going to have to draw on those memories. And
I really wanted to I just wanted to repeat that, because so many of us right now in this pandemic, that, you know, especially when we were locked at home, we just started to think, you know, maybe I could have done that, or maybe, you know, everything seems fun now because we didn't spend the time. And so sometimes what we do when we get a pay raise, or when this controversial 1.5 that the Prime Minister and his last administration, you know, that sort of tax break, if you will, and the cutback in different areas that released a little extra change in the pocket. What we tended to do with the pay rise and this extra money is to increase our expenses. So we change our car, or we readily run and get a car, not making the long-term financial plans to say, all right, you know, liquidity is important. So that what you're saying, people are saying, but I cannot afford a vacation. You cannot, because your car is too expensive. It is eating up too much of your salary. When a cheaper vehicle that is durable, is very good, and etc., could do the same job that you need for it to do. You know what I mean? So that's something I just wanted to go there. Yeah, go ahead.
And it's true and very important. We have to match up to the Joneses. And it is so true. And these things cause the stress. Because then you can't buy food, proper food, because you have to pay your car payments. And that's so true. It is so true. And I believe that's what we are still doing. As you said, COVID has made, or should have been making, our lives more simpler, because we're not going out as before, and we have to stay home and try to improvise and play games at home. But what? We still need to portray to the world, to show when what is on the outside is not important, but what is on the inside. It's very important. And peace of mind will
nothing can buy life. Yeah.
There you go. It will lengthen our life. And that's where we need to get back to in order to deal with all of these uncertainties.
Yes.
Get used to where you are. Appreciate what you have, as you just said. Appreciate what you have and who you have around you.
Yes, the what and the who are very important.
Yeah, especially who you have around you. Because talking really helps, you know. And sometimes we sit and we bottle up things inside. When you have persons around you who you can talk to, but now we sit and we worry. Let's utilize our husbands, wives, or children, or friends. Call them. Yeah, we talk about social distance. We can call them. We have WhatsApp. We can talk. We can FaceTime. We can video call. Do all of that. Let's make use of what we have while we have it. And these things do help with anxiety. We call it talk therapy. It helps. The person doesn't have to be a counselor. Just talk. It helps.
And we were never made to be in isolation. That was never God's intention. So if you look at the creation story, Yes, if we look at how things went in the Garden of Eden, look at how God did it. So he spoke, and then there was the light was separated from the darkness. He spoke, there were trees. He spoke, there was this. There were stars in the heavens. He spoke, and the animals came. He spoke, but when it came down to making Adam, he got his hands, for want of a better way of putting it, dirty.
Yes.
He touched the soil, and he, not that he didn't spend, it wasn't purposeful, the rest of creation wasn't purposeful, but and I'm trying to think about it. I've never seen him, so you know, but I'm trying to use, because we're made in his image, I'm using my my physical characters. So I'm imagining that he knelt down, you know, and he took up the clay, and he gently and meticulously put everything in place for Adam, right? And from the outset, he had a close relationship with Adam. So as Adam would walk up and down in the garden, he was there with him. He would commune with him. He didn't. It's not like now, where, or even, well, there was a time when there was a what you call it, that priest or the prophet in between God and his people. That wasn't it from the beginning.
No, face to face.
There you go. And as the hours of day 6 of creation passed, you know, God allowed, because it's not that creation was perfectly made, and God knew it was perfect. So as the day, he allowed Adam to realize, as he went around and looked at what was happening in the Garden of Eden, he realized that something was missing.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yes. And so a longing was created in his heart, a desire for something to make him feel complete and whole. So yes, he was a whole being, but the communication, the social connection was missing with the other human being. And that is where we get the statement in Genesis that it was not good for man to be alone. Right?
And as somebody said, it doesn't apply to marriage alone, as we can see.
No.
It doesn't apply to marriage only. It's not good for persons to be, you die quicker when you are by yourself with nobody around. That's why they say when persons retire, get involved.
Yes. Volunteer, join associations. Yes.
There you go. God is so awesome. And I am, for me, I love company. I'm a social person. And I appreciate that aspect of life. I really do. I appreciate people, because it really helps to just talk, light talk. Sometimes, and as we are on anxiety, when you're depressed and down, you don't have to have money to help me, but just sharing with me what I'm going through helps me.
Yes.
It helps. So for persons who you think that, all right, you know, no money to give me, you know, in a sense, talk to somebody, tell them. And persons can indeed share ideas and testimony, because what you're sharing, somebody may have gone through it to say, hey, leave it right there. It will work out. And then they tell their story, which will encourage you. Yeah, they will encourage you. So it helps. A treatment for anxiety is utilize your human resources.
Yes, literally. And I think that is why the powers of the authority, even here, our health minister, tried to move the conversation or this from social distancing to physical distancing.
Yes.
And I think the distinction is very important to make. Yeah. So it's called the novel coronavirus. Because it is something that we're all learning about as we go along day by day. So things change, things are happening. We're basically learning while we're in it. It's like a child, like a baby. The child learns to walk by falling, by you know, they learn by doing. That is how we're learning. But I'm saying this to say that, as you mentioned, while we are physically distant, because we're told that the particles can spread within a certain range, etc., we have a responsibility to ourselves and to the others in our network to be socially connected.
Right, there you go. It's very important.
Most of us are locked away with somebody else. Try to get physical touch. Even if you shake the person's hand, brush upon them, because we were created. These things help with even our hormonal balance. It helps with our moods. It helps with our mental health and well-being. So even
if we only knew that,
the power of physical touch, physical touch. So that is why if you can't hug, bump the shoulder. You know, every now and again, find some. If you're at work, wherever, if you talk to somebody, look into somebody's eyes physically. Keep your 6 feet distance as the protocol, the law says, but look into somebody's face. Smile with somebody. Share smiles. These things. The research shows that it helps to boost our mental health, and we know from day to day that sometimes you're walking on the street and somebody just looks up and gives you a wave or a smile, and you might have been going through a stressful experience, and just that look from somebody communicates to you that all is not lost.
There you go.
There is still something good in Jamaica, and this is very important. And I didn't share it publicly per se, but just recently I was robbed in New Kingston. Coming from work, and the bike boy them, I don't know how else to say it, who act as though you work for them. My things weren't I created these protocols in my head as to how to move about in New Kingston in a safe manner. But what I didn't know, because the rain was falling, I took a different route. I didn't know that all that place after 3 in the afternoon would have been to Ghost Town. But when they grabbed my things, and the trauma associated with that is another conversation that I had to be deliberate in combating. I think I'm almost fully there, because it takes time and redoing, rethinking, reimagining. But the long and short of it is the response that I got from persons who, not right there, because it was Ghost Town, but when I reached out to persons for assistance, I remember I went to the gas station, because I do consider myself a strong person. I try to be that person, but after I communicated it with one or two persons, the reality started to really soak in, and the emotions were there. But I remember going to the gas station near the police, right across from the police station in New Kingston, and I said to the gentleman, and the tears started to come to my eyes when I started to explain it to him, because all that I was thinking about was my family. And especially having 2 young children, thinking that, oh my God, they could have, because I was threatened. I was threatened. The guy threatened to shoot me because I did not hear what he said. And I asked him, what did you say? Because even though that these things happen, not in your wildest dream, even though I had my own personal protocols in place, I still did not think it would happen to me. So in the moment when it was happening, the shock of it, and so there was a threat of so I was thinking about the children, and I explained to the man what happened, and he said to me, just go park over there, and he was so helpful. And then when I was parking, there was a young lady who was there, and I don't know if she heard the conversation, but somehow she picked up what was happening, and she offered to follow me to the police station to help me if I got a call already, and she was just going to come. And I was listening to her, watching what the man did, and I went to the police station, the response of the police. And I'm saying this, that in that moment of feeling anxious, I'm in a strange place, because it's the first time that I had experienced anything like that. So that emotional space for me was a very strange place. But it reminded me, and it cheered my spirit, that all is not lost. So in this country of mayhem, murder over there, so hatred and this and that, there were so many people willing in that moment to be a system of support for me. And that is how human interaction can help us to get over our situations. You know what I mean? So that is why social isolation can be so dangerous, because when you don't have somebody to encourage you, to reassure you, to remind you that it will be well, then your stress levels, your anxiety levels can move into the realm of being chronic or being very serious, rather than something that you get over with some help.
Because that's what anxiety is, It's like eats you out, like you're eating yourself out then, because all the thoughts running through your head. And as I said, if you're alone, you're the only one there dealing with the thoughts, and there's nobody to remind you that, hey, there's a better side to the world. You're just seeing all the negatives. And because you're the one going through it, you're the one having the emotion and everything, it just eats you out. It makes you sick. It kills you.
It does.
And as you were reminiscing on that, yes, at times when you keep hearing of the killing, the robbing, you just look at, boy, Jamaica just gone to the dogs, and Jamaica just know better and know good, and yes, it's when these little things happen. I remember falling into a hole driving. I didn't see it, and I was turning out, and I fell in it. And I saw this man. He drove up, he came out of the car, he saw me to get in and wanted to turn. And then when he came, some other guys came, and trust me, Kerry, when they were finished and I drove off, nobody asked me for money, nobody asked me for anything.
That is the beauty, yes.
Good.
Yes.
I know, because I know when I fell, I was frightened. I was surprised. And then he told me to get in, and then, he lifted the car, and then the other guys came and they helped him. And then it told me to, like they watch you go away. You felt protected. I know it was God, but then seeing, as we would say, angels in human form.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I believe, as we said before, it's not good for us to be alone, because in a moment, when trauma hits, we don't think.
So, yeah, and that's because I remember the police asking me a lot of questions, and I'm like, and I'm a very observant person. I'm very observant. I can tell you what your shadow look like. I'm that type of person. As a child, I was told that I stared. I am very observant. So, and for me not to see, I realized, as you said, and this, to translate this into the conversation as it relates to COVID-19, is like, as we, for me personally, I don't watch the numbers. So that, that little blue thing that the Gleaner puts up, and see, observer for them way of reporting it. But you know what each media house's COVID report looks like. For me, when they come up, I do not open them. It's not that, and it's not necessarily having a major impact on me personally, but I make a concerted effort to protect my mental health. And I noticed too that in the beginning of the outbreak, and I know and this is why it is so important for many people might wonder, why do I have to study psychology in my undergrad degree and I don't want to be a psychologist? Understanding human behavior and how your behavior impacts on human beings, social psychology at its base is very important, because working as somebody who studied media myself, and the connection between media and psychology for me, I would know that I would not put out, and this is no indictment on anybody, but my area of training would tell me not to put out these COVID releases at night before people got in bed. Let me go to bed with something that is happy. Let me go to bed, but they used to come 9 o'clock in the night, 10 o'clock in the night, just before you go to bed. And then because a lot of people are subscribed to these, to several of these media houses, as soon as it comes on the app, and there's a notification on your phone, you pull on that notification, 5 people died of COVID today. 200 more cases of COVID were identified. And so right away, your sleep is disturbed. You start to think, oh my gosh, and you start to go search on to find out which parish them there. Reach over this. You know what I mean? And that is why one of the ways to reduce your anxiety levels or prevent yourself from becoming, seriously impacted with anxiety is to limit your social media use and to be very, very responsible in how you access information and where you access information from.
So a personal testimony as you're speaking, I thought I wasn't worried about this COVID thing. I really thought it wasn't getting to me. I was okay. But then I realized I was getting anxious, I was getting frustrated. And so I did just that. I stopped listening to the numbers, I stopped listening to the death toll, and I realized I was more calmer and more better at dealing with life. Yeah, I was much more better, because then I realized it was coming closer to home, because then I was hearing of persons who are close to me who are dying, and I really, it started to traumatize me, and I didn't even know. I didn't know. So yeah, I can't control it. I cannot control it. So what I do, I pray and I leave it into God's hand, and I say, He will protect me. All things happen together for good to them that love the Lord. He will protect me. And stop watching the numbers. Stop listening to the death toll. I find that I'm now dealing with this whole COVID thing much better, because I thought I had it, but no, I didn't.
And that's the thing. So many of us do think, oh, it is, but the more you get bad news, the more it's, and remember, it's not just COVID that we're dealing with. We're dealing with economic shrinkage. We're dealing with loss of income. We're dealing with relationship breakdowns, because that has also been the reality for many people during this pandemic. We're also dealing with the disruption with school, as you mentioned, the online schooling, everything going online when you weren't computer savvy. You know, so there's so many different sources of stress. If the situation where some people are now stressed and anxious, you know, if I take the bus, I've spoken to people who said that they're on the bus and several people on the bus don't have on mask. You see people on the, you know, and because people are not protecting themselves, you know, how is that going to impact me? And so there's so many different avenues in this pandemic through which stress can be translated to us, that, you know, you have to make a concerted effort to deal with it. And you mentioned the whole thing of taking care of yourself, eating a balanced meal. You talked about exercise and sleep, and taking time out. Spending time with God is also another very, very important one, and that is tough. As I mentioned, He created us for relationship, and the primary relationship is a relationship with Him. And when we are connected to God, it helps us to make sense of things. You know, it helps us to understand that this pandemic is here, but especially if you understand the prophecies of the Bible, you know that COVID-19 is not the end.
Right.
It could push things closer to the end, but the end is not yet. You know, and the vaccine being the mark of the beast. No, if you truly have a balanced understanding, so that now, because you understand the prophecies, that helps you, you know, bring your stress levels down quite a bit. Yes. Talked about staying connected with friends and families, and also doing nice for other things for other people. We were both beneficiaries of something nice, and we saw how those positively impacted us. So you know, at first you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, I can't mash up now. What happened? You know, and you think, oh, this was stolen. Well, I was not so much worried about the things that were stolen from me, and thank God. And that's another thing too in this pandemic. We, as you mentioned, we need to know what our priorities are and what is truly valuable.
There you go. What is truly valuable?
Yes, that is very important. So for me, and maybe one day I'll go into the detail of telling the story of how it went. But for me, you know, people are saying, "Oh, your phone gone. Oh, and I'm like, you know, okay. You know, I was just concerned that, you know, did these guys, you're thinking, oh, it was just a robbery, but was it just a robbery? You know, they see me going to the put, because I had on a very loud jacket. By loud, I mean I like, some colors and stuff, and it was one of my favorite jackets. But it's such a distinct jacket that if you see me in it and you're really looking at me, if you see me again, you're going to recognize me by that jacket. You know? So, you know, I was thinking about those things, and even today, I was inconvenienced, but the material loss was not my issue. You know, and I give thanks for that. And in this COVID, we have to get to that place. You know, as we're hearing about even what's going to happen at Christmas, that you can't go here, so you can't go there, because we're not hearing the protocols yet. But based on what happened in August, what happened at different holidays, we can almost envision. It might get tighter, but I personally believe that we can look for the 3 o'clock to whatever PM to whatever time in the morning curfew. You understand what I mean?
Right, and there we go again, Kerry. So we're pulling sorrows from tomorrow. And that's what's creating our anxiety. All right.
Yes. I like that. Say that again. We're doing what?
We're pulling sorrows from tomorrow. We're not enjoying the no. We're not enjoying the no. And even if you want to think about Christmas, we don't think about, all right, if I have to stay inside, what games can we play? What can we do?
Think about the bonding.
There we go. So we think about the material things. Where can I go? What can I do? But as you said, look into somebody's eyes, connect with them. Which friend can I call? Who can I video call? And we can have, because I have learned we humans are so creative. We're made in God's image. We're creative. I hear about virtual dinner. Today I heard about a virtual sports day. Listen.
Hey, I would like to say that virtual sports. That's interesting.
Yes, I heard about it today. There are many things that we can do. So instead of borrowing the star, let us create. Let us thought stop and replace those negative thoughts with positive ones. Those negative ideas with positive ideas. God has given us that ability, and we can do those things. Anxiety is from the enemy. Be anxious for nothing. Ask the Lord, God, give me some ideas. What can I do? Like for me, I'm a social person. Lord, if I was married and I was, Lord, you see that I can't stay by myself? Give me ideas. Tell me what to do. And he will. He cares that much. He cares for your spiritual need. Yes. Yes. And he also cares for your physical and your social needs too. He made them. He'll give you the ideas. So let us not create anxiety. Let us consciously deal with it.
I might get some flagging for this one, but as I listened to you talking about you're a social person, that's another thing that we need to we've gotten time to sit in solitude, because we for a lot of people our travel time has been cut, or because the children probably will get a little bit more time sometimes to sit down. We need to be true to who we are. And you hear everybody talk about, I'm an independent single woman, and I can speak for women because I'm a woman, and that's good. That's good. But if you truly are somebody that wants to be in somebody else's company, accept that.
Right.
Acknowledge that, and don't shut yourself away from others. Because when you do that, you're denying yourself of what your heart truly desires.
Exactly.
And when you do that, especially in this time, that is going to increase your stress level. You know, the loneliness, the stress, especially as it relates to the season ahead, where it's about food, it's about fellowship, it's about friendship, it's about family. So whilst I have a different perspective on the man in the red and white, with the distended tummy, I do have a different perspective, on that, and I do have a different perspective as it relates to what Christmas stands for, etc. That's not the point. One of the things that is undeniable, regardless of who you are or where you come from, is that this time of year, maybe because it's a longer holiday period than others, people get a lot more time to spend with each other. We pick them go country, go spend with family, but usually in the summer you send them to country. But in the Christmas time, you are more likely to go with them, because you have Christmas Day and Boxing Day back to back. You go with them. And even how they're talking about doing something nice, based on what I read about the Boxing Day tradition, is that the leftover food, because as I said, Christmas is about food. The leftover food is partly about food. Let me not be, because I might say that and it might sound offensive to somebody, but the leftover food will be boxed. Literally, the time will be spent boxing that food, and so you literally can have that food now to share with somebody else. So I believe that, as you said, we should be focusing on now, and as you plan towards the holiday season, just look at the time that you're going to get with each other and try to think about how to spend it with each other. Don't think about the loss of going to this event or that event. Don't think about the loss. Instead of seeing loss, see opportunity. See the glass, the cliche, see the glass half full rather than half empty. Because that's a source of stress and anxiety for a lot of us. We worry so much about what we do not have that we miss the opportunity to enjoy that which we have. I wanted to share, if you have anything else on this whole matter of how we can use lifestyle, I wanted to share some specifics as well in terms of some nutrients that we want to have in our diet as it relates to this time. So is there anything in particular that you would like to share, again, as it relates to lifestyle and anxiety?
No, I want to hear what you have.
All right. So one of the things that you mentioned too was this whole matter of the hormonal connection with anxiety. And I want to share that if especially people might have different hormonal issues, whether it's polycystic ovarian syndrome, people who have the PMS issues, people who, women, obviously, who may have recently had children and the hormones are still out of place. These are two things that I personally use because I'm a mother of a young child. This is, and there's a light, my lighting. Let me turn it away from me a little. So this is now vitamin D3. It is not very clear. 5,000 international units, and it not only. So I take that from time to time, especially as maybe 2 weeks into my cycle, I take that to help to keep me balanced. And it doesn't mean that something is wrong with you. You just have to acknowledge that certain things create hormonal changes. And I also use, can you see this one? Maca powder, yes. So for me, for those 2 weeks, these are two of the key things. And I try to get a lot of sunlight, but this helps where, you know, we're staying at home and we can't get the sunlight that we require. And so what I do for those 2 weeks, every day I take 1 or 2 of these, especially the first couple of days, I take 2, which is 10,000 international units. And the good thing about it is that the research shows that even in pregnant women, and we're not diagnosing, we're not prescribing, but I'm telling you what I do and what the research shows. Research has shown that even pregnant women who are at risk for some certain pregnancy complications take up to 40,000 international units under their doctor's supervision, and it did not create any toxicity. And I don't remember, let me not go into that. I have a number in my head as to where it gets toxic, but especially when you get sun exposure, it's very safe. The maca powder helps with the hormonal balancing as well, and it helps to balance out your mood. So I use about a half a teaspoon to 1 teaspoon, maybe in a smoothie. I don't like, people say it tastes like Horlicks. I don't think so. So I don't use it in water, but you can just mix it in water. I use it in my smoothies. Some of the other things, well, some things to avoid, the white flour, the highly processed foods, the white breads, regular basic sugar. So not sugar as it's in its natural form, especially granulated sugar, the cakes, etc. These things give you the sugar rush, and it also can have a negative impact in terms of increasing your stress and anxiety levels. It stresses the body and can create that. There's almond, is something that I try to eat daily as well. And these, it's not how it is supposed to look. Let me see if I can take it out of the bag. So I have them in the refrigerator. And all these things we do them at our store. We sell them at our store. These are some of my that I have at home. This is sunflower seed. Sunflower seed. Yes. And
pumpkin seed too.
Pumpkin seeds.
There you go. Yes.
And things like, especially I didn't have it. I don't have any right here with me now. I need to stock up your flaxseed with your essential fatty acids there, your omega-3 essential fatty acids, your chia seeds. I try, to get them whether in my. I mostly do a smoothie, like at least 1 smoothie per day, because I want to get those in. So with a part of my meal, if it's a small amount, I try to get those in, because nutrition, your B vitamins, and when you have this good mix of nuts and seeds, you do get the B vitamins, the omega-3, 6 fatty acids. Also, I mentioned, so in terms of herbs, you mentioned chamomile as well.
Yes.
So I don't have those with me right here now, but there's
turmeric. I forgot turmeric.
Because guess what?
Very good.
You see, the thing about some of these reactions in our bodies, some of us were very toxic.
Yes.
And we're very inflamed, and these things put stress on the body. So yes, that's a good anti-inflammatory.
Yes.
So the system, ashwagandha.
And ginger.
That's to calm down. Ginger as well. And one of the things to note too, that sometimes our poor eating habits, eating late, etc., damage the stomach. So from time to time, personally too, especially in a stressful environment, I do take some probiotics. I have some on the refrigerator there. But it's the vitamin D3. It also helps with the aches and pains, because we're stuck at home, we're stuck inside. one of the things you hear people talk about a lot is the pain. And I remember my husband was trying to figure out, said he wanted to do some weightlifting, whatever. So I said, don't you see the vitamin? Last night I was saying, I told you that I have the vitamin D, go take them. He woke up this morning saying, boy, just the 10,000 international units. He's been complaining for pain for weeks now, and I keep reminding. And he took them last night, and the pain, has subsided. So I'm saying that we have the resources, and I want us to have that holistic conversation and know that anxiety can be assisted, especially as it relates to basic anxiety, can be related to certain deficiencies. Deficiencies in terms of magnesium. And again, these seeds that I mentioned, magnesium and zinc, the pumpkin seeds, these seeds have zinc, they have the magnesium in them. These key minerals can help. The lack of these key minerals can result in issues with anxiety. And next week I want to talk, hopefully I get somebody to talk about depression, because closely related to anxiety is depression. Initially I wanted us to have those in one conversation, but there it is. We're actually at an hour and we have not touched on depression. So I just wanted to highlight, repeat the things that you mentioned, the exercise, the sunlight, etc. But one of the other things that I just remembered is deep breathing.
Right.
When you feel that rush of anxiety, go outside in the open air. If you live in an apartment and you're locked out, open the window, go on the veranda, go on the porch, and take some inspirations of deep breathing, deep of fresh air, and breathe deeply. Hold it for a couple seconds, breathe in through your nose, hold it for a couple seconds, press the lips together, and slowly exhale. And trust me, it even helps with your blood pressure.
Yes.
It helps to bring down. I'm not saying that it is because blood pressure is a lifestyle issue, and so other things will have to go with it, but it is very useful in helping to control our blood pressure. So you had some company there. But Mrs. Goodlett, thank you so much for being my guest today. As we talked, we scratched the surface of this whole matter of anxiety.
Yes.
And
scratch is the right word.
Yes, there's so much to uncover. But if you do you actually have a clinic right now, or do you offer services? Because if you do, you could share your contact information with persons. No, not right now.
Not
okay.
Right now,
so if you want to get in contact with me, and there's a mosquito. Okay, he's gone. If you want to get in contact with me, remember the website holisticja.com. The WhatsApp number 876-519-9131. If you're watching on Facebook, just send me a message in the comment section of the video, and let us have a conversation. If you're interested in any of the things that I just mentioned in terms of the herbs or the food products, just give us a shout out and we will tell you how you can go about ordering. The booking form or the contact form on the website, you can use those as well. So thank you, and next week we will be back here to talk about depression. Take care and all the best. All right. So saying bye as well to our viewers from this program, Living Holistically. I'm Carrie-Ann Witter, wellness coach and medical missionary, saying thank you for being my guest today, and we look forward to hosting you again next week, Sunday at 3:30 p.m. God bless you.